the Palestinian issue has to be figured out, right? Like if I lock a bunch of people in my apartment, eventually they're going to get really mad. They're going to try to attack me, and I might even be justified in fighting back against them. But I mean, what do you think is going to happen? Like something has to be figured out, because if the situation continues now, we return to the status quo. In another few years, there's going to be another terrorist attack, and then Israel's going to they'll have justification to go and fight. But I mean, like it's inevitable. You're creating inevitable situations where you're going to have to deploy some level of violence. It's going to end up with a lot of civilian catastrophe. Like, yeah.
Let's take the case of a woman who is mercilessly battered by her husband. Day in and day out, she is being battered by her merciless spouse. She lets out screams and yells and pleads for help, but all of her pleas are ignored. She then summons the courage to call the police. The police come to her home and they say, "Sorry, this is a domestic dispute. We can't get involved." She tried to reach her neighbors. They ignored her. She tried to call on the law. She was ignored. And then one day, when her spouse is about to beat her again, she takes a knife and she stabs him. And then she stabs him twice. She stabs him 3 times. She stabs him 4 and 5 times. He reaches for a gun and he shoots her dead. Now, you will probably know that if he went to court, he would claim the right to self-defense, and he probably would win in court. In fact, he almost certainly would win in court. But then you have to ask yourself the moral question: did he have the right to kill her? He said it was self-defense. He said, "She stabbed me 5 times. But you have to ask yourself, or we all have to ask ourselves, did he, from a moral point of view, have the right to kill her? Which is my way of saying, I believe after what Israel had inflicted on the people of Gaza for decades on end, they had forfeited their right to self-defense.